$1.20 yesterday.
Imagine waking up and reality costs more.
The change doesn't announce itself with sirens or headlines. It begins quietly, almost invisibly. A woman stands in line at a grocery store, waiting like she has done 100 times before. The hum of fluorescent lights fills the air. The conveyor belt moves forward, carrying ordinary things: bread, milk, eggs. Then the number appears. Higher than yesterday, higher than last week, higher than anything she expected. She blinks, thinking it's a mistake. But it isn't. And in that moment, without warning, the cost of living changes forever. For decades, the world moved to a rhythm few ever questioned. Oil flowed from the earth, and money flowed in return. But not just any money. One currency stood above the rest, quietly anchoring global trade, shaping economies, and defining power. The US dollar. It wasn't just a medium of exchange. It was the foundation of a system built on trust, necessity, and control. And as long as oil was priced in dollars, the world had no choice but to hold them. Every ship crossing the ocean, every container unloaded at a port, every nation fueling its industries, all of it connected. Invisible lines stretched across the globe, trade routes, financial systems, agreements between nations. And behind them all, one constant remained: the dollar. It wasn't just currency. It was gravity, holding everything together. In quiet neighborhoods, far from oil fields and trading floors, life felt stable, predictable, comfortable. Families planned their futures. Children grew up believing tomorrow would look like today. Prices changed, but slowly. Jobs shifted, but steadily. No one saw the system beneath it all, because it worked, until it didn't.
We interrupt this program for a critical alert. Developments are unfolding rapidly. Stay with us for the latest information.
The shift begins with a decision. Far away, in rooms filled with quiet negotiations and calculated risks. Oil, no longer priced in dollars. A simple announcement, but its consequences ripple outward instantly. Markets react. Currencies tremble. Confidence begins to crack. And suddenly, the system that seemed permanent starts to move.
When demand disappears, value follows.
Money, like belief, depends on trust. And when trust weakens, value follows. The dollar doesn't disappear overnight. It falls, slowly at first, then all at once. What once bought stability now buys uncertainty. Numbers on screens shift downward. Investments shrink. Savings lose meaning. And people begin to realize this is not temporary. Energy touches everything: transportation, food, manufacturing. So when fuel prices rise, everything rises with it. A truck driver watches the numbers spin higher at the pump. He doesn't need an economist to explain what it means. He already knows. If it costs more to move goods, it costs more to live. Ports grow quieter. Ships wait longer. Containers sit untouched. The flow of goods, once constant, begins to slow. And as supply chains tighten, shelves begin to empty. Not all at once, but enough to notice. Enough to worry. At home, the impact becomes personal. Bills spread across a table. Numbers don't add up the way they used to. A family sits in silence, doing the math again, hoping for a different answer. There isn't one, because this isn't about budgeting anymore. It's about survival. Rent increases. Groceries rise. Utilities climb. And income stays the same. The gap widens. Not dramatically at first, but steadily, relentlessly, until it can no longer be ignored. Businesses adjust. Then they cut. Then they close. Retail fades as imports shrink. Logistics slows as demand falls. Entire sectors contract under pressure. A worker leaves an office carrying a box. Not because they failed, but because the system did. Airports empty. Flights are canceled. Travel becomes something people used to do. Movement slows. And with it, the world feels smaller. Less connected. More uncertain. Stores once filled with choices now offer gaps. Empty spaces where products used to be. The abundance people took for granted begins to fade. And in its place, something unfamiliar grows. Scarcity. But systems don't just collapse. They transform. Fields that once seemed small now become essential. Local farms begin to matter again. Communities turn inward, not out of isolation, but necessity. Production becomes local, and value becomes tangible. Money still exists, but it's no longer enough. People begin to trade. Goods for goods, skills for services. Trust returns, not in currency, but in each other. In small spaces, new ideas take root. A shelf becomes a farm. A room becomes a workshop.
In collapse, opportunity grows quietly.
Mushrooms grow quietly in controlled light, not as a hobby, but as income, more uncertain. A kitchen transforms. Meals prepared not just for family, but for others. What was once routine becomes opportunity. Skills become currency, and survival becomes innovation. Hands begin to create again. Candles.
Essentials never lose demand.
Soap.
Repair becomes more valuable than replacement.
Clothing.
Becomes essential again. Simple food.
Bread. Simple things. Essential things. Things people will always need. And in making them, people reclaim control. The marketplace changes. Less global. More human. Faces replace systems. Conversations replace transactions. And slowly, a new economy forms. The world does not end. It shifts. The structures people relied on may fall, but something else rises in their place. Adaptation, resilience, community. And as the sun rises over a changed world, one truth remains. Not everything survives collapse. But what does? Is stronger. What more ideas do you have? Your sharing ideas may open door for other survivals. Write your ideas into comment section. Thanks for watching the video. Please hit like and subscribe.